A very good morning to you watching. This is Smart Means Business here in Smart Info TV, where you drive your business. My name is Marcy Katsime, and today is Wednesday, the 27th of March 2024. What a way to begin the day, of course, with some showers of rain. And of course, someone could say these are Easter blessings. Well, who knows, yeah? And with a change of weather, it is really necessary. Well, today we're going to be looking at Uganda's venture capital potential and looking at how Uganda is projected to actually reach a total capital of $102.4 million by this year, actually 2024. With a focus on actually latest stages. Looking at financing, to invest in startups, or maybe companies and other ventures as for purposes of high growth. Time actually we've seen earlier on in the 1980s, where agriculture was actually the mainstay of Uganda, contributing 50%. 50% of the population participated. 1980s, I remember, they are predominantly reliant on agriculture, where 5% earnings. Of course, looking at 2020, where agriculture contributed 21%. So those are, because now away from agriculture, people were able to other ventures, talking about technology, talking about industries. There is a lot, and of course, also with a 46% earnings. So these venture capital. Well, first of all, Uganda has been grappling with issues, and people wanting to start businesses and probably companies. Well, this has been a good opportunity for them to rise up and how they can raise capital for their businesses. Well, of course, look at the venture capital. $100,000 to $2 million. We've seen investment in startups of innovation, technology, and there's a lot of diversity. Like I said, from agriculture, we are shifting to industries, we're shifting to technology, we're shifting to other innovations, actually, even tourism as well. Well, of course, the government recognizes the importance of these venture capitals and offers funding through initiatives like the Uganda Youth Venture Capital Fund. That is where youth go in and actually get a little bit of finances, because now, yesterday we were talking about youth empowerment. Yes, there are very many, even including the Youth Venture Capital, where youth are given that at most, I couldn't say a right, it is not a right, where you're given that space to go and get a little bit capital to start up your small business. Given the fact that we are in Africa, youth populate mostly highly populated, densely populated, I must say. So Uganda as a country, looking at the idleness of these youth, and of course most of them having ideas and not having where to start from. People have issues of, I don't have capital, I do not have what to start with, but you can start even as low as 15,000, 50,000 Ugandan shillings. You don't have to start big. You can start small if you're really, really, really strategic and visionary. Trust me, you're going to be fully in another big organization right there. Well, it must be these venture capitals have actually fostered innovations. We've seen different innovations coming into shape, people coming out with different creatives, yeah, which have been helpful actually in driving economic development in our country, Uganda. We've seen job creation, yeah, job creation in these venture capitals. Imagine you get finances, you start up your small business, and of course at the end of the day with different, okay, fine, let's talk about companies. So you've started up a company, of course at the end of the day you'll have to employ people, so you are a source of employment for some people. So that is also one thing that we can also attribute to the fact that venture capital brings into our country, Uganda. There's also this is in terms of long-term growth and sustainability. Yes, it also encourages that. Yeah, so if you think it's going to be a short time, you have to be, just like I said, people have to borrow with purpose, of knowing that whatever they're borrowing for, if I'm going to set up a business, I have to make sure I have made research, I know my markets, I know my consumers, I know what they want, I know I can relate to them. So know what you're setting up is going to be long term. Okay, it's not a matter of it's here and then the next day it's not. So definitely with venture capitals, it gives you this aspect of long-term growth and sustainability, and of course looking at it encourages risk taking. Yeah, of course, when you get some finances and they invest them in your business, trust me, it's a risk. Actually, it's a risk for investors. Actually, it's a risk for investors, trust me. Well, of course, there are around 18 Ugandan venture capital firms which are actively investing in startups here in our country, Uganda, combined with 55 companies. So that's quite some number, yes. And of course, like I said, there's also the Uganda Youth Venture Capital, a fund that has been there to enable youth to participate in economic development. And of course, according to the Uganda Investment Authority, the government efforts to promote venture capital and alternative sources financing options. Yes, you can go and see what offers that they have for you right about there. So there is a lot that we can actually get from these venture capitals, because like you hear the word, you venture in different things. Yeah, you can do agriculture, you can do technology, you can do textile, you can do, I mean, it gives us a diversity. There's diversity in venture capital. You diversify your knowledge, you diversify your thinking capacities. That is why we have different startups, away from the norm that we had of agriculture. Agriculture setting the pace. We are full of youth. Youth want to come up with different innovations. It's a different creatives. So definitely there has to be a space where they can get capital to start up these new creatives that they have in their mind right there. Well, of course, it's just 14 minutes past 7 a.m. Yes, we are still here on Smart 24 TV. And of course, just in case you want to keep joining us, you can get us on YouTube on Smart 24 TV, and of course Facebook on Smart 24 TV official, and Twitter or X and Smart 24 TV now. And of course, we're always streamlining. Go and subscribe, and trust me, we have the very best to offer. Well, 15 minutes past 7, let's get to see what is happening into the press. Well, with me, I have the Daily Monitor and the New Vision quite heavy here. The New Vision, I could be wondering what is in there. Well, of course, making headlines as the NUP has no powers to recall Mpuga. And of course, he says he's going nowhere. For those that are interested in politics, yes, with the ongoing saga that has been happening in the NUP, and of course looking at tourism earnings hitting 4 trillion Ugandan shillings. Told you what? Yeah. So we are actually earning big from tourism. Can you imagine? So if at all we promote tourism, I actually support domestic tourism. Go, visit different, because at the end of the day, your phone is what sells the country. Market yourself, market what we have in our country, Ghana, through those selfies, the Snapchats that you take, TikToks. That is how people are going to know, and eventually, guess what? We're going to earn more than this. And of course, we see that according to the tourism ministry, earnings from the sector have hit 4 trillion as international tourist arrivals reached over 1 million visitors last year, up to 56.5% from 2020. So you can imagine we are getting there. So keep up the spirit. And of course, looking at 141 billion Ugandan shillings needed for the Kabalega airport. Yes, yeah, and of course, Museveni receives message from Ka president. Yeah, that is also one of the top stories that are making headlines here. And of course, setting our eyes in the Daily Monitor as the noise prayers land pastor in a police cell. Well, of course. Well, a Pentecostal pastor who had been on the run since July last year is among the first men of God. Police detained 2 years after President Museveni sought a diplomatic resolution over noise pollution. Well, countrywide, yeah, I must say, really. Yeah, there's a lot of noise pollution, not only in churches, but also the surrounding, the bars, and we should also talk about that, okay? Men of God should, yeah. And of course, looking at how government plans to increase enrollment in traditional schools. Yeah, actually, I discussed this with a friend because I went to a traditional school, and they went to traditional school way back in the early 1960s, and they were telling me of enrollment. Kids have reduced. They no longer go to these traditional schools now. They are private schools, because private schools are all about excelling. But I remember growing up, even in school, it was about self-drive. You know what you want when in traditional school. You know that you have to get the good grades, otherwise you're going to be discontinued. So the enrollment in traditional schools is declining very much. Yeah, if kids went to maybe 3,000, now that into 1,500. So what is really happening? What is happening? Yeah, what are the private schools doing that the traditional schools are not entirely doing? Yeah, and of course, looking at protests in Gulu City of a fuel station in Wetland. Wow, this is quite interesting. How? This is not acceptable. This is damaging for society. And of course, Busia businessman shot dead and robbed. And of course, we see over 150 children to get free heart surgery. Wow, in India, quite an interesting yeah, because this is quite expensive. Heart surgery, kidney replacement, these are one of the most expensive procedures. Even brain surgery is also one of the most expensive procedures, I must say. So having this for free will be quite a good move. And of course, looking at Aga Khan schools pushing for teacher training into doing their workshops. And of course, UNEB condenses at subjects exams. Yeah, so if you want to know the curriculum, the new curriculum on how they're going to be actually doing their subjects, and of course the new arrangement which is provided under the new O-level curriculum will affect subjects such as English language, history, political education, as well as geography, which all had two examinable papers at senior 4. So English paper had 2 papers. English had 2 papers, history had 2 papers. I didn't know political education because I didn't do that. Geography also had 2 papers. So they want to condense them. Okay, what went for 2 papers, they reduced because this is so overwhelming. You have paper 2, paper 3, paper, I don't know, it's a lot. Well, of course, Uganda's internet users hit 30 million users, so you can imagine. And of course, the users in Uganda increased by 1.2 million, that is 10% between 2023 and 2023. Looking at January 2023 and this year, they've increased by 10%. So people are really understanding the importance of connecting to the internet because this is where information is all. And looking at the internet usage in East Africa, looking at from the first to the very last, looking at Democratic Republic of Congo with 28 million people. Then we have Kenya. Okay, I didn't expect Kenya to be coming in number 2 with 22 people, million actually. Tanzania 21, and then Uganda with 10 million people. Yeah, so that is our uptake in. So imagine from a population of 47, only 13 people are using 13 million people are using the internet. So there is a gap. There is still a gap. There is still definitely a gap that we have to look into. That everyone can be connected to the internet for easy accessibility of services. Okay, so now that we are planning to go digital, there is need for that. Yeah, and of course, Japan gives 24 billion for Sorority Ginger hospitals. Yeah, and of course, talking about health, humanitarian aid. This is what Japan is doing. Like I said, a healthy nation is a wealthy one. Okay, let's keep up our health. Let's go for checkups. Yeah, and we can actually probably grow as a country. Yeah, so still here looking at Uganda's performance in the tourism sector. I'm really quite impressed. And of course, still ongoing with university dons calling for integration of Kiswahili in primary school curriculum. So as they are trying to phase out Kiswahili, some teachers, we saw yesterday, 2,000 teachers are going to lose unemployed. Yeah, and now they're saying, you know what, the university, they're suggesting that Kiswahili should be, included in the primary school curriculum. I agree with them because if we're talking about East Africa, most of the East African countries do speak Kiswahili. So if we're told we are to speak the same language, let it be that. And of course, we need more teachers, much as some are not unemployed. We need more teachers now. This is a good initiative, okay? Those of us who did not take the language could actually learn in adult learning. Yeah, there's also that option for adult learning. So do not be dismayed. Of course, why boards, CEOs must take that data privacy, security, and artificial intelligence seriously. We've been telling you this over time, again and again and again and again. Data privacy, artificial intelligence. Do you know the importance of artificial intelligence? Do you know how much it can do for you? Do you know you can actually have a few employees and improvise artificial intelligence in your workplace? Well, of course, lawyer loses appeal in 59 million clients cash case. Yes, these are some of the consequences of work. Yeah, one time you're losing, the other time you're winning. So it's a game on who wins and who actually loses in the courts of law. Yeah, that is how it is. Yeah, and of course, Mr. President investing 0.5, this is the comment section, 0.5% of our budget in tourism to create 8.5 of the GDP is tourism without Echibaro. So this one is questioning tourism, how we contribute 0.5 investing here, and of course to create. Because last year we saw it, tourism contributed 7.7% in the country's GDP, and of course we shall yet to see how much is going to be how much it contributed last year, and of course setting into this year. Well, of course, as you can see, traffic right there, yes, and ongoing. I think this is along the Chira Road. Yes, Chira Road, yeah, along the Ginger Road. Well, of course, as you can see, people coming in, there's not a lot of traffic because it rained in the morning, so people are now getting to their workplaces. Yeah, so definitely, I believe, given that this is one of the last days that we have in the week, everyone is rushing to wrap up the week, to finalize the week. This is the fairway, actually. I beg your pardon, this is the fairway. This is the fairway for those that are coming in all the way from Mulago, those that are coming in all the way from Waise, all the way from all that side, Chisasi, maybe Tinda, all that side, because there's also a route that passes all that side. As you can see, Wandegea as well, Makerere, yes, you can see right there that there's a little bit of congestion. Yeah, actually when I was coming, there was a little bit of congestion due to rain. When there is rain, people tend to leave home late, and it causes some traffic along the way. And of course, those that are coming in from the access road all the way Garden City, they probably are coming in from town. There's not a lot of traffic here, as you can see right there. And of course, as you head to Nakasero Road, Seziwa Road, yeah, not so many vehicles take that road because that is for, high-end people. Not so many vehicles are seen, heading that side. Okay, so yeah, a few minutes and we are seeing cars have been halted. That's the Seziba Road. Yeah, and I said not so many cars go that side actually. Yeah, maybe for those that are taking their kids maybe to Nakasero Primary School and heading that side. As you can see, it's been, I can't believe they've been halted for quite some time. Okay, this is quite unusual. Yeah, probably there is some congestion along there. And of course, as you head down to the John Babiha route, yeah, you're going that way all the way to Acacia, all that, continuing to Tina, continuing to all that way. As you can see, there's not so much traffic that comes on, considering the fact that people reside that side, yeah, as well. So residential areas usually have a lot of traffic in their way. Well, of course, that brings us to the end of our traffic. Yes, we were along the fairway. Traffic lights, the traffic lights around there. And of course, 29 minutes past 7 a.m. Let's go for a short breather and I'll be right back with what is happening in East Africa and across the borders. Stick around.